My flight's not till like 10 to 10.
10 to 10?
Tamam zaten.
batería.
Well, good morning to those back in Canada, and welcome to the Pinatar Arena here in the southeast corner of Spain for today's men's international friendly between Canada and New Zealand. Teams just making their way out here at the Pinatar Arena. Canada, of course, in red and New Zealand in black, as the teams will take their lineups for the traditional anthems ahead of the game.
Please rise for the national anthem.
So welcome once again to those just joining us, and as you see on the screen there, the Canada lineup today. Milan Borjan, as usual, starts in goal. Across the back line, it's a back line of Michael Petrasso, Captain Dejan Jakovic, Mandrakar James, and Ashtone Morgan getting the start at left back. Through the midfield, you have Samuel Piet, Jonathan Osorio, and Mark-Anthony Kaye. Kyle Larin gets the start up top with young 18-year-old Liam Miller getting his first start at left wing, with Tosaint Ricketts down the right-hand side. For New Zealand, it's very much a similar philosophy, a change of coaching staff and the start of a new era. Max Crocombe gets the start in goal, as it's a blend of youth and experience, but much like Canada, several key names missing from this New Zealand lineup. Chris Wood of Burnley and Winston Reid of West Ham United both missing out. As Dejan Jakovic and Michael Boxall make their way to the center circle for the handshakes ahead of the game. This, of course, head coach John Herdman's first game in charge of this men's national team. He's had 5 days of solid training here in Spain to get the troops ready. First opportunity to show what they've got under the new gaffer. As you're probably slightly able to hear on the broadcast, it's extremely windy here in the southeast corner of Spain today. Steady winds at about 40 kilometers per hour and actually gusts above 70 kilometers per hour, so an extremely windy day. It will affect play and any balls in the air. Referee just checking a few final details as we're about to get underway here at the Pinatar Arena in the Murcia region in Spain. It's Jonathan Osorio standing over it. As I mentioned, Canada in red, of course. New Zealand in the all-black outfits today. As we're underway here in the first international action of 2018 for the Canadian men's national team. Milan Borjan just clears that one away to safety, looking for Toe St. Ricketts, but this will be a throw into New Zealand. That's Boxall setting one forward. Looking for Rojas down that left-hand side, but just out of his reach as well. Samuel Piet looks to get on it in midfield for Canada, looking for Ashtone Morgan. And here's a first touch for 18-year-old Liam Miller. Young Canadian winger playing his football at Liverpool Football Club in England. He just sends that one out of touch. You can really see the wind having an effect here early on. It's unquestionably going to have an impact on this game. Getting back to Miller, he's actually been playing for Steven Gerrard's under-18s at Liverpool. Mentioned during the week that Steven Gerrard says he really likes his pace and really encourages Miller to get at players when he can, so we'll expect to see him on the front foot today. Petrasso throws it in on the right side. New Zealand mounting their first real attack of this game, but it's good work there by Mark Anthony Kaye just to push them backwards. Sam Piet once more finds Ricketts. And here's Michael Petrasso. He's enjoyed a really strong start to the year in MLS with Montreal Impact. Great to see Petrasso getting some first-team football. He does well there just to break up that play, but again, a throw into New Zealand. John Herdman has started the match down on the touchline. He often likes to start games up in the stands, but choosing to be down on the bench today with the subs and the extra coaches. I mentioned New Zealand missing a few key players. Of course, Canada missing a few of their own. Steve Hutchinson and Scott Arfield both unavailable due to injuries. New Zealand gets set to cross this one into the area by the looks of it. That's swung in at the near post, but it's gone behind for a goal kick. Canada, of course, also missing Junior Hoylett. But with Junior playing such a crucial run for Cardiff during their championship run this season, and they're really tracing promotion into that Premier League, coaching staff and Hoylett agreed it was probably best for him to take some time off and let him focus on his promotion chase back in the UK. So an opportunity for young players like Miller to come into the team. Miller making his first start today. And of course, Kyle Larin appearing for Canada for the first time since his move to Besiktas in Turkey, where he is playing alongside Hutchinson. I believe Larin just waiting to make his first team debut there, as here come New Zealand again. Samuel Piet wins the foul there. Seen a lot of touches in the early minutes for Marco Rojas. Spoke to John Herdman last night and he said Rojas had an excellent Confederations Cup. Tricky winger who will look to test that Canadian backline. Mandrakar James on it now. And here's Miller. Falls to Mark Anthony Kaye. Another player who's stepped up to MLS first team action this season after playing at USL level last year. Here comes Rojas again. Appeals for a foul, not given. But New Zealand certainly on the front foot early on, prodding at that Canadian backline. And the wind is very much blowing across the pitch, but you'd have to say it is blowing from New Zealand's end towards Canada. So Canada certainly into the wind in this first half, and wouldn't normally talk so much about the conditions, but it is a real gale force wind, so certainly is a factor as Mandrakar James tracks that one down. The offside flag is up. That was Adam Mitchell trying to get onto that one. Petrasso there for Canada. He appeals for the foul, but not given. Throw in once again for New Zealand. You can see that throw really sailing in the distance there. It's gone all the way out for a goal kick, and that's the strength of this wind. Not often you see a throw in from halfway go out for a goal kick, but that's the reality here today. Milan Borjan plays that goal kick here to the near side to Mandrakar James, and that pass is picked off though. Canada fortunate to pick that one up through Kaye in midfield. Looking for Larin. That's given us a foul against Kyle Larin. Larin tries to turn and play that one forward, but that was cut out by Tim Payne of New Zealand. Ashtone Morgan here with the throw-in. Haven't seen a lot of action in recent years for Canada, but Ashtone Morgan getting the start at left back today. Of course, both Marcel de Jong and Alphonso Davies from the Whitecaps didn't come into this camp. Whitecaps with a busy MLS fixture schedule around this one, and particularly for Davies, John Herdman mentioned that he had a good chat with Carl Robinson, and they just felt that with Davies getting a lot of minutes in MLS, it was best to let him focus on solidifying his first team place there. So St. Ricketts now. Canada just struggling to find their rhythm here in the first few minutes. Oh, that was a dangerous strike off the upright there. That was beyond Borjan. So Michael McGlinchey really testing Borjan there. In fact, had him beat. Came right back off the upright. Certainly the best chance of the game so far. Lewis swings this one into the area. Petrasso meets it at the front post there. And again off the post. Oh, real danger there for Canada. It's twice off the post in the space of a minute. As Lewis floated that ball back into the area on the second phase, and Milan Borjan saved by the other upright this time. Here's Piet just getting his foot on that one. Kyle Larin wins the foul, and just a chance to alleviate some pressure here for Canada. Certainly not the start they would have been hoping for. Mandrakar James now. Back to Piet. Dejan Jakovic with the captain's armband today. That's really Canada's first entry into that final third. So St. Ricketts just looking to press that one high up the pitch. As Osorio throws it in. Sam Piet wins the foul there, taken quickly. Canada look to spread play here. Here's Ashtone Morgan. Just can't quite keep that one in. It's played forward there by Adam Mitchell, the Bolton Wanderers man. Mandrakar James intercepts that one after some good work by Miller. Here's Kyle Larin. Good turn by Larin. Larin sort of half appealed for a foul there, but nothing given. And with this win, those types of balls over the top are going to be dangerous. James does well just to get there. That header's flicked on for Rojas. Rojas backing up Michael Petrasso on that far side. Delivers into the area. The wind just takes that one behind Milan Borjan and out for a goal kick. Just joining us, New Zealand with two real good chances in the last few minutes. Both of Milan Borjan's uprights were tested. 2 attempts off the post, but still 0-0. And here comes Liam Miller showing that pace down the left side. Good burst of speed there by the young man. Clearance is skewed out, so throw into Canada. First flash of what Liam Miller is all about there. John Herdman's going to take this opportunity just to get some messages out there. No doubt they would have hoped for a better start than this, but still 0-0, that's the positive. And it doesn't look good for Adam Mitchell. Physiotherapist there just signaling for a substitution. So this looks like an early change at the right back position for New Zealand. And that's unfortunate for Adam Mitchell. who, as I mentioned, plays his club football with Bolton Wanderers in England. So it looks like it's going to be Dane Ingham coming into the game for Adam Mitchell, as New Zealand forced into this early change. Mitchell goes off holding his hamstring by the looks of it. Unfortunate for him. And again, players almost reluctant to go challenge that ball. So hard to predict in the wind. Mandrakar James opted to let that one bounce and couldn't get that one away properly. Petrasso eventually hammers it out for a throw-in. Here comes Dane Ingham for New Zealand. Presumably a like-for-like switch at right back. Just ticking up on the 15-minute mark here, and things have maybe settled down just a touch for Canada. Here's another opportunity for Miller in some space, and he'll love this kind of opportunity, Liam Miller. So he goes straight at Ingham off the bench. Liam Miller into the area. Couldn't quite get the cross in. Finds Kaye. Not the best connection there from Mark Anthony Kaye. The wind takes that one away. And you just wonder with the conditions here if this is just a matter of Canada maybe containing things a bit in the first half and then using that wind to their advantage in the second half. Anytime the ball is in the air, it's just certainly affecting the play. As Soria looks to slot in his clubmate there, Ashtone Morgan, but that runs out for a goal kick. Canada just getting into that New Zealand area for the first few times in the last 5 minutes or so. Maybe just weathering that early storm. Max Crocombe, the Kiwi keeper. Not the best connection on that goal kick. Osorio latches onto it. Crocombe plays for Salford City, also in England. This looks like another free kick opportunity for New Zealand deep in the Canada half. In fact, it's just going to be another throw in there. Bit of confusion on that far side. Finally, Petrasso leaves it behind for New Zealand. And it is a New Zealand throw by the looks of it. Rojas. Here's Rojas again. Kaye breaks that up. Tough St. Ricketts just looking to force that one forward, but it's a bit tight on that far side at the moment. That's headed out for a goal kick. Milan Borjan heads over to collect that one. Borjan, of course, enjoyed at least an interesting spell in the Europa League this year. Coming up against the likes of Arsenal. Some really good performances in that competition. Playing for Red Star Belgrade. They were very unlucky to go out in the round of 32 away to CSKA Moscow in Moscow. fact, going out by just a solitary goal, a 1-0 away loss. Still great to see Milan Borjan get into the knockout stages in that competition. Certainly emerged as one of Canada's premier talents in the last few years. That's good work there by Marc-Anthony Kaye to win that one back, and that's what he's all about, Marc-Anthony Kaye. That athleticism in midfield as Miller plays it forward looking for Osorio. Boxall make sure that one gets well clear. Michael Boxall with the captain's armband for New Zealand today. Plays his club football for Minnesota in MLS. He's actually got his brother on the bench, Nico Boxall, who's uncapped, so if he does come on, that would be a debut for Nico. Not too often you see brothers play alongside each other at international level. John Herdman just asking his players to hunt for that one up the pitch there. Wants to see that pressure nice and high in New Zealand territory. Here's Sampiet. Petrasso. So they look to work that 1-2. Of course, Piet and Petrasso have been together for a long time in this Canadian program, dating back to that 2011 Under-17 World Cup team. Here come New Zealand. This is Rojas. Sends it out wide. Brocky crosses it in. Cleared by Jakovic. That's sent backwards there by New Zealand. And eventually out for a Canada throw-in. Milan Borjan collects that one there under some pressure, but he'll just lay this one out to Dejan Jakovic. Sampiet now. Osorio sees Miller in space, finds him. Here's Liam Miller for Canada on his debut. Osorio cuts inside. Oh, it was deflected. Well, that's a fantastic save at the second attempt there. Kyle Aaron looking to poke home that rebound. Great save by Max Crocombe. Kyle Aaron unlucky there. Did well to follow that in. Good striker's instincts there. It was Osorio's deflected effort. I think Crocombe did really well to keep that out in the first place. Osorio on the switch to Petrasso. Jakovic. Here's Miller again in a good area. Looking for Morgan, but that's run out for a goal kick. Unlucky there for Liam Miller. Just get another look at that. Great set of saves there by Max Crocombe. Deflected on the first attempt, and he did well to parry that second attempt from Kyle Aaron from close range. And you have to say it's been better from Canada in the last 5-10 minutes. Sure, they were rattled by those two attempts off the post early on, but score's still at 0-0 here. Canada seemingly growing in strength. You can hear John Herdman encouraging the players now. Probably likes what he sees a whole lot more. That was a nasty collision there between Ashtone Morgan and Tim Payne for New Zealand. Payne's gone down after that one. I think it was just a follow-through on Morgan's clearance. You can see Ashtone Morgan just trying to appease the the assistant referee there. Not quite sure what the call is, but it looks like a New Zealand free kick after all that. Fairly sure you can hear Simon Eadie there, the Canadian assistant. He's in charge of set pieces for Canada, very much organizing the troops for this one. Marco Rojas standing over it for New Zealand. That is whipped into the area on the left foot. Borjan punches that one away. Decent delivery there by Clayton Lewis, but Borjan alert to the task. Punched that well clear. Should also mention that another player that John Herdman highlighted, Ryan Thomas of New Zealand, has also missed out on this one. And he was in camp down here in Spain, but presumably an injury kept him out of action today. Canada were looking for Kyle Larin there, but broken up by Boxhall at the back for New Zealand. Borjan rolls it out to Mandrakar James. It's a bit tight in there as Liam Miller has to try turn on that one. Can't do it, but James wins it back. Kyle Larin now. Feels for handball. That is given by the referee. Here's Liam Miller again. Miller inside. That's a corner for Canada. Again, you're seeing what Liam Miller is capable of there. Loves to cut in onto that right foot from that left wing. Referee just sorting things out inside that 18-yard area. Bit of jostling going on there. As Osorio looks to deliver this one. It's going to be tough to find the right trajectory in this wind. Osorio now into the area, but as we guessed, the wind pulled it right back. Kaye looks to send that back in, but that's blocked. Oh, fortunate pass there for Canada off the referee. Here's Kyle Larin inside the area. And the assistant referee on the far side raised his flag for offside. And I'm sure the referee is a much relieved man. Would have been quite harsh on New Zealand there. I'm sure Kyle Larin will probably be quite frustrated he didn't put that one away, though. Wouldn't have counted anyways, of course. As Crocombe looks to send this one back downfield. So Canada responding well after some early nerves, I guess. We should say David Edgar has just ran straight past us here. Great to see David Edgar back on the pitch for Canada. It's on the substitutes bench today. Expect we'll likely see him in the second half. Of course, been out for a long time through injury, David Edgar, so fantastic to see him back. He's actually trying to land a gig at a new club at the moment, so maybe a bit of a showcase opportunity here as James goes back to Borjan. And my word, Milan Borjan does well to gather that. Could have been dangerous there for Canada. Borjan's done really well to get that as far forward as he has. Not short on power in those clearances, Milan Borjan. Here's Osorio. Miller's wide if he can find him, he has. Not a great touch there from Miller, though. That's cleared away. No question, though, for a debut appearance. Miller certainly getting heavily involved here early on. As I mentioned, spent the season at under 18 level and has progressed on to under 23 level at Liverpool. And you wonder if there might be a first team appearance under Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool in the near future for Miller. Fantastic to see a young Canadian doing so well at such a big club. Here's Petrasso. Ricketts. It's broken up there by Rojas. And you can see Sampiet really dropping very deep into those positions, almost splitting the center backs. Seems to be an instruction from John Herdman, who likes the pass and move here from Canada. It's Miller into the far corner, nearly went out for a corner, but it's going to be a throw in for Canada. The wind is kind of blowing in that direction as well, so you wonder if they might go long, but Morgan looking for a short option. Here's Morgan again. And that will be a corner for Canada now. Jonathan Osorio heads over to take it. So sustained bit of pressure here from Canada. Second corner in recent minutes. Mandikar James, Kyle Aaron, Dejan Jakovic amongst the big targets to aim at, but you can probably see Osorio struggling just to keep the ball inside that quadrant there. That is the force of the wind here, and there it goes again. I mean, rarely have you seen that before. It's going to be Piet from range. Looked to wrap his foot around that one, but nowhere near it on that occasion for Sampiet. Another player at Montreal, getting a nice run of games to start the season in MLS. Of course, great to see Sampiet go home and enjoy his football the way he's doing. Grinded for a long time in Spain, in Germany, over here in Europe. Great to see him get that hometown cachet for the Montreal Impact. Spoke to him during the week. He's certainly loving every minute of the action in Montreal at the moment. They had their big win over Toronto FC in that 4-1 derby last weekend. As again, a touch in midfield there actually goes out for a goal kick. As I said earlier, if Canada can get to halftime here at 0-0, given the conditions, I think they'll probably fancy themselves in the second half, using that win to their advantage. There's a whole host more of young Canadians on the bench here, in addition to Miller. 4 more players that will be looking to make their first appearances at senior level. 5 fresh faces in camp here in Spain. Very much a changing of the guard under the stewardship of John Herdman. It's read well by Jakovic as Canada break that play up, but given away carelessly there. Here's a crossing opportunity, and that is going to be given as a foul against Michael Petrasso there. So a chance now for New Zealand to whip one into the area. So a good crossing opportunity here as it's whipped in low. Not sure that's the connection he was looking for there. You can see Rojas just a bit frustrated with that delivery there. Didn't really give his bigger target something to work with on that ball. As again, New Zealand looking to go over the top there, but Brocky can't get onto that one. Another goal kick here to be taken by Milan Borjan. Jakovic thought about playing that back to Borjan. Decided it wasn't the best idea. Didn't manage to get that clearance too far though. Liam looking to press Ingham there. Forces Ingham into that long ball. That's good feet there by Kyle Aaron. Does really well. Unlucky there. That was a good turn. Ended up running that one out of play, and you can hear Colin Miller, Canadian assistant, just applauding the big fella's work there. This would be Laren's first taste of first-team action in quite a while after his move from Orlando to Besiktas. Just looking to make his debut in Istanbul. Hopefully he gets a few minutes before the end of the season. Of course, much the opposite for Atiba Hutchinson, who has been virtually their leader in minutes played over the last 2 or 3 years. But Hutchinson missing out on this one due to a contusion he suffered last week. Came out in that game. He was on the roster to come in here for Canada. Well, that's a nice bit of interplay there by New Zealand. Into the area again, but Borjan does well to hold that at the front post. Tim Payne, the number 6 there, with some good work in midfield. Borjan finds Petrasso in a bit of space, and Petrasso will run straight into that. Jakovic to Sam Piet. Mandrakar James now. Morgan finds Miller. Miller does well to sidestep his man, but Tim Payne breaks that up in the end. Dane Ingham. It's gone out for a Canada throw. Morgan looking for Kyle Aaron inside the area. That one just runs out of play beyond Laren. Real gust of wind just sweeps through here. I'm sure you can hear it on the microphone. There were some questions earlier in the day about whether this game could go ahead in this wind, but thankfully for both teams, they found a way. Not much protection offered here by the relatively small stands at Pinatar Arena. Crocombe launches that one forward. It's a good touch there by Brocky to bring that down, but Piet does well to intercept that one. Here's Osorio. Miller. He's going to want to turn and go as quick as he can here, Miller. Heading forward now. Ashtone Morgan back to Miller. Here's Osorio. Still Miller. Just backing up Dane Ingham there. Osorio. That's a decent ball into the area. Kyle Aaron. Look to find Petrasso, but that actually runs out to the far side. Dejan Jakovic now. Canada just starting to get that passing tempo going. I'm sure John Herdman would have been a bit alarmed at the first 10 minutes, but Canada have grown into this one. Here's Osorio in a decent position. Laren just beyond him. Appeals for a foul and finally given there. Dejan Akovic just catching Brocky up top for New Zealand. Referee just asking them to move that one back into the New Zealand half where the foul did take place. As David Weatherspoon, another new face to the Canadian program, by far the oldest. 28-year-old Weatherspoon, who's a Scottish Cup winner in Scotland, qualifies for Canada via his mother, who was born in Canada. A similar case to Scott Arfield, joins us for the first time this week. And again, another player I expect we'll see in the second half. Certainly got the pedigree. He's got 300 plus appearances in Scotland. That's back to Borjan under pressure. He's done well to find Piet, but Canada just jammed in back there in that far corner. Done well there. Here's Petrasso. Haven't really managed to get Tosin Ricketts into this game too much, Canada. You can really hear John Herdman there just encouraging his players to close that space down. Doesn't want to see New Zealand be given too much time at all on the ball. Asking Kyle Laren to tuck in there. And Ashtone Morgan has some ground to make up to get across here. It's crossed into the area. And it's a goal. It looks like Brocky, but the flag is up. And that'll be called back. Looked like a goal there for New Zealand. I think Brocky did really well to get a touch on that one. But thankfully for Canada, the assistant referee on this near side raised his flag. A bit delayed, actually. We're still at 0-0. Wonder if we'll get a second chance to look at that one. Brocky just cut across that one and found the right touch to put it in, but must have been judged to be just offside. So a few close calls for Canada, but still 0-0. 5 minutes left to play in this first half. Here's Osorio. Surely a foul there, but referee says no. Play on. It's in pain now. Chance to break here. Numbers up for New Zealand. It's Mark Anthony Kaye and Piet put in the miles to get back. Here's Rojas. You'd have to say he's probably been their best player in this first half, Rojas. Looking for Brocky again there, but it's cut out by Mandrakar James. As we are getting another look at that disallowed goal here. It's going to be tough to judge from this angle. It was crossed in. I think Brocky did get a touch, but he must have been offside according to that assistant referee. You'll be surprised to hear no VAR video assisted refereeing in action here today at the Pinatar Arena. So we'll trust the flag raised on the near side. I'm sure Canada won't be complaining. That's a foul given against Kyle Laren there. Tim Payne plays it forward. Collision off the ball there between Ashtone Morgan and Payne, but both back up on their feet. I think it was just a tangling of legs there. So Piet gets his head up and travels forward here. Looking for an option, finds Osorio. for Osorio to turn now if he can get his head up, and he does. Finds Kaye. It's Brocky closing him down. Canada just asserting themselves on the ball a bit here in midfield. Kaye. Osorio looking to spread it to Morgan. He does. Decent chance to attack the fullback here for Ashtone Morgan. He's got Miller overlapping. This is better from Canada. Decent possession spell here. Liam Miller now. Cuts to the byline. And here comes Liam Miller inside the area. Oh, and he's unlucky there, Miller. It's a corner to Canada. Did really well to get around his man. I'm sure John Herdman will be really encouraged by the tenacity Miller's shown here as an 18-year-old to put his foot on the ball in moments like that and get at defenders. Certainly not showing any fear. It's going to be Osorio again to take this corner if he can keep that ball inside that quadrant with this wind. Osorio swings it in. Cleared by Boxall. Sam Piet standing over it now. Mark Anthony Kaye. Here's Osorio. Another chance to attack here for Canada. Bit of a fake there by Osorio. Spreads it to Dejan Jakovic. Canada pushed up well inside this Kiwi half. Here's Piet now. Good bit of play by Laren there. Morgan. Osorio back to Morgan. Two Toronto FC men combining. Gives in a foul there by Ashtone Morgan on Rojas. Ashtone Morgan just wrapping his arms around Rojas there. Referee sees that one. As the fourth official holds his board up for 2 minutes of added time here in the first half. James rises to that header well. Miller, Piet under some pressure here. Osorio. That's good stuff there by Jonathan Osorio to find Ricketts if he can turn and travel forward, and he does. Ricketts looks to cross it in early doors. That's cut out. And here come New Zealand now. Canada win that one back, but bit of a loose touch there from Petrasso, who seems to have gone down injured potentially. Looks in some distress there, Michael Petrasso. Referee signals for the Canadian medical staff to come on. And with no time wasted, it's going to be a substitution for Canada. Maybe Petrasso had signaled to the bench earlier on. So it's another debut for Canada. So as you just saw there, Marcus Godinho coming in. Playing at Hearts in Edinburgh. He's looked good in training this week, Godinho. He's got some sharp feet. He's been getting some minutes at first team level in the Scottish Premier League, so he'll be well tuned up for this one. Unfortunate there for Petrasso. Not quite sure what the issue was. So he's just walking off down that far side with the Canadian medical staff. So congrats in order to Marcus Godinho making his debut as the referee signals the end to this first half. 0-0 here in Spain. New Zealand with two real good chances early on. In fact, hitting both posts behind Milan Borjan, and then Canada kind of grew into it. Carved out a couple half chances of their own. Certainly the better opportunities of the first half going to New Zealand, but Canada did grow into it with some good possession. So 0-0 at the half. And we'll be back with you in just a few minutes.
prueba.
Hi. Hi.
Vale, ya está, es que la cámara no da más.
Vale, pues ya está, lo hacemos con esto.
Los equipos de arriba, algunos se gustaría. Encima de los dos que van, de los dos delanteros, de los tres delanteros, llevan 22 puntos, ellos 21 puntos. Fíjate,
was a fucking pass, though, eh?
Second pass, boys. Make sure.
So welcome back to the Pinatar Arena here in Murcia for the second half of this men's international friendly between Canada and New Zealand. 0-0 still the score. You'll remember that Canada made a change just before halftime. Marcus Godinho coming on in place of Michael Petrasso. And they've made one more as well. Mark Anthony Kaye gives way in midfield with David Weatherspoon coming in. As I mentioned, Weatherspoon, a veteran of club football. He's got over 300 appearances in Scotland. Scottish Cup winner, and he'll add a real wealth of experience in that midfield area, so an exciting chance to get a first look here at Weatherspoon. And as I mentioned, a very similar scenario to Scott Arfield joining the team. And obviously he's gone on to become a big player for Canada. Here's Weatherspoon, first touch in Canada red, and here's Godinho. A pair of Scottish-based players combining down this right side. So just the one change for Canada at halftime after that late first half sub. St. Ricketts comes away with that ball, but he's holding his back in a bit of distress there, Toss. Here's Ashtone Morgan on the far side. Morgan cuts that one into the area, looking for Laren. Still loose. And he thought the referee might give a foul there for the coming together between Kyle Laren and Crocombe. No foul given. In fact, that was a really good chance there for Laren on the second attempt. As Crocombe will need some medical attention after that coming together. Here's a second look at it. And you have to say, a fantastic save on that second attempt there by Crocombe. Maybe a bit at fault for dropping that first attempted gather, but as Kyle Laren flicked it towards goal, it was a good right hand from Crocombe. Let's keep things at 0-0. It's arguably Canada's best chance of the game there. As Osorio just waiting to take this corner. Crocombe still getting looked at. Looks like another substitute coming in for New Zealand. It's going to be Alex Rufer. Not sure who he's coming in for just yet. So here comes the delivery from Osorio. Looking for Ricketts. St. Ricketts does connect in the end, but it's well high and wide. I think he saw that one very late. You can hear John Herdman just urging his players to press that short goal kick. And the wind has probably died down just a touch, which is a bit unfortunate for Canada, but in the grand scheme of things, probably make for a better second half. It's still certainly blowing, but not quite as hard as it was at kickoff. Of course, right as you say that, a big gust of wind comes up. And here's Kyle Laren. You can see Toss busting a gut to get in there. Kyle Laren cuts inside. I wonder if he could have laid it off sooner there. Had some options in the middle of the park there. James. Osorio back to Mandrakar James. Here's Liam Miller. Osorio back to Miller. Keeps looking to cut inside, Miller. Chance to cross for Osorio. Good ball into the area. It's cleared away. Piet wins that back. Finds Miller. Not sure if he meant that, but it's worked out well for Canada. Liam Miller backing up Dane Ingham. Oh, that was a very near chance there for David Weatherspoon. Nearly scored within his first 5 minutes in a Canada shirt, breaking into that 6-yard box. Good work by Miller. The 18-year-old having a standout performance for Canada on his debut. There's Tim Payne for New Zealand. Rojas shown that he can be very dangerous as well. Good strength there by Coutinho. Just throws Tom Doyle out of the way. Spoke to him during the week. Coutinho, he said he spent last season on loan at Berwick Rangers in the lower leagues in Scotland, and you might not think of that as a league for, I guess, its reputed technical finesse, but certainly a hard man's brand of football, and he's shown his strength in training, no doubt, this week, and he did so there. Just shoving Doyle off that one. As I mentioned, 3 more potential debutants on the bench for Canada. As here comes that change for New Zealand. It's going to be Alex Rufer coming on for Marco Rojas. It's a bit surprising. Might just be managing his minutes, so to speak, but Rojas is probably the best outlet for New Zealand in this game. So it looks like Michael McGlinchey has just drifted out to the left side now. New Zealand worked that corner short, and Osorio gets in the way of that cross. Clayton Lewis gets set to throw this one in. Instead, he leaves it for Michael Boxall, the captain, coming across there.
Liam, tighten up in front.
It's been solid. Boxall hasn't put a foot wrong all game, and he's going to line up a long throw, very much into the wind here. Actually floats it to the top of the box instead. And that strike is well high of the bar, not troubling Milan Borjan. That was Clayton Lewis with that one. If you missed the first half, it was a shaky start for Canada. Some very dangerous chances early on for New Zealand. They hit the post twice in quick succession, both left and right behind Milan Borjan. Maybe just a bit of nerves as Canada settle into this new program. As here's Tosaint Ricketts inside the area, and he scores! Tosaint Ricketts! It was a simple ball over the top. Tosaint Ricketts brought it down on his right foot, turned and smashed it into the roof of the net. 1-0 Canada. And so St. Ricketts edges ever closer to that Canadian scoring record as he closes in on Dwayne D'Irozario's record. Just waiting to get a second look at that one as you see John Herdman. Probably heard the bench erupt there in celebration. So Canada, after weathering that early storm, grown into this one. And it was a simple Route 1 ball. Tosaint Ricketts just using that pace and power to turn. And under pressure, found the finish. As you see the celebration there. Just waiting to get a second look at that. That's a big goal for Canada. New coaching staff, new program. And they're up 1-0 here. A win would certainly be a boost to the morale going forward. It looks like Canada might not actually play again until September when CONCACAF Nations League gets underway, so they won't want to dwell for 4, 5, 6 months on a bad result here. And Ricketts has given them that opportunity to go home happy after a hard work's training. And here's a second look at that goal finally. Tosaint Ricketts just nudging it past Crocombe in goal. Kept it under the bar. That'll mean a lot to Tosaint. Been struggling for minutes at Toronto FC, but showing what he can do there.
Get him up! Space here, Tom! One inside you! David, one inside you! Sort it out, sort it out!
Here's Boxall looking to break into the area. Lays it off for McGlinchey, but Canada do well to break that one up. You can maybe sense the tempo just being upped here by New Zealand as they now need to go in search of that equalizer.
Hey, could be another. Man, just keep there. Well done. Keep checking shoulders, man. Be long, be aware, back post. Be long, back post, be aware. It'll go long.
So long throw here from New Zealand, but he's fluffed his lines really. He's headed back into the box. Piet clears that one. It's been solid as ever today, Samuel Piet. If Laren can get his head up, he had Miller breaking into space, but first touch let him down a bit. Just a bit too slow on that one. Miller's still calling for it. He's in tons of space on that left side, but Canada worked this one back around. Here's Sam Piet again. Weatherspoon looking for Coutinho. He's going to get there, Coutinho. Weatherspoon crosses it in. So that's sent forward to Brocky for New Zealand, but Mandrakar James is just about going to get to this one. He does. And here's Liam Miller again. It's been electric, Miller. Not much more you could ask for in your debut. Here's Kyle Laren now as Canada working this one well around the New Zealand area. Laren. And Crocombe did well to hold that because Weatherspoon and Ricketts were arriving for the rebounds. Cross didn't really work out very well there for Tom Doyle. Just slipped, lost his footing as he looked to cross that in on the left foot. We're going to have a whole raft of substitutions here by the looks of it. First up looks to be Ashtone Morgan coming out. Sam Adekugbe coming in. Former Whitecaps man, now playing in Scandinavia. Saw some minutes at the Gold Cup for Canada last summer. Sam Adekugbe certainly growing into stature in this team. And here we go. A long awaited return to first team football for David Edgar. Suffered a freak accident on holiday. And it's been a long road back for David Edgar. Soldier for this Canadian program, and fantastic to see him take the pitch there as he replaces Dejan Jakovic, the captain, as Milan Borjan takes over the Canadian armband. So a big welcome back to David Edgar as New Zealand make a pair of substitutions on their own there. Meyer Bevan coming in. Just waiting to catch that second one. Second one was Andre de Jong. As you can probably hear, I'm getting some assistance here. That's Brocky and McGlinchey going out. Got a Kiwi journalist filling our gaps here. Thank you very much. Decent chance here for New Zealand, and that was a half chance. Skewed wide, though. Tim Payne just cutting across that one. So as we tick up on the hour mark, it's Canada 1, New Zealand 0. Edging closer to a very positive result for John Herdman in his first game in charge of the men's national team. Of course, so much media attention during that transition into the new coaching staff in January. I'm sure he'll be feeling the pressure to get a first result here. And as you talk to the players throughout the week, the key message really is, you just get a sense right away of John Herdman's work ethic. No stone left unturned, every detail attended to. That's a fantastic crossfield ball. I believe that was Edgar. Here's Liam Miller. Just looks to thread in out of Kugbe, but Simon was just off ever so slightly there. But as I said, some real positive messages coming out from the first week here under John Herdman. Senior players like Ricketts and Edgar speaking up in the media. Towering header there by Mandrakar James to send that towards Miller. Finds Piet inside. Just looking through the records there, I think that's Tosei Ricketts' 16th goal for Canada. Twain Dirazario, the all-time leader for Canada in terms of goals on 22. Certainly got a couple years left at least, Tosei Ricketts, so you wonder if that record might be within reach. Of course, it wasn't that long ago that Diro set that record. Mandrakar James just coming through to clear that one. Couldn't quite get it away. This is Bevan chasing that down for New Zealand. Keeping that pressure up. That's swung low into the box. Cleared by James. Don't want to jinx him, but he's had an assured performance back there, Mandrakar James. Of course, a lot of people were surprised when Mandrakar got that start away at Azteca in World Cup qualifying. With some real senior center backs in camp. Benito Floro at the time opted to give James that big opportunity. And although Canada lost 2-0 in that one, he didn't disappoint. That raw pace and athleticism from Mandrakar James has proven to be pretty crucial to Canada. Of course, scored that goal away in San Pedro Sula in World Cup qualifying again. That result just got away from Canada, but a really big moment there from Mandrakar James. Scenes of him running over to celebrate with that bench. As that ball's gone out for a goal kick. Can you imagine? New Zealand will just have to find a way to up the tempo here. Since that early shaky spell, Canada have arguably been just edging this one. But definitely some worrying signs for Canada early on with those two efforts off the post by New Zealand. They're fortunate to come away from that first 15 minutes at 0-0. James goes through the back of Bevan there. Free kick given to New Zealand. It's the captain, Boxall, standing over it. Plays it short. Tim Payne. There's Lewis on that far side. Look to cut it back. Milan Borjan calls for it. Comes and gathers it. Just moving into the 65th minute here. David Edgar now. It's that long ping towards Godinho, but the wind just carries it away from him. John Herdman applauds the idea nonetheless. Here's Edgar again. Weatherspoon dropping into the near side. Here is David Weatherspoon. Currently playing at St. Johnston. That's a name to pop into YouTube, David Weatherspoon. He's got some great goals on there. Certainly capable of a screamer from range. James airs this one out towards Ricketts. Surely that wind's going to take that one out. Toss does well to get there, but is unfortunate in the end. Tom Doyle just bounces that off him for a goal kick. It's going to be yet another change for New Zealand here. Sarpreet Singh coming in. It's going to be Clayton Lewis giving way.
Can you get Tish? Yeah.
Crocombe sends that one forward. It's Miller trying to keep that in, but it's going out for a throw-in. And when he starts to think about combining Liam Miller and his pace and trickery with the likes of Alphonso Davies, Junior Hoylett, suddenly, after a few barren years, Canada has some real options down the flanks. Some tricky wingers, and that's probably going to be crucial to a coach like John Herdman. Showed with the women's national team how he likes to use that pace down the flanks. Think of the impact that Deanne Rose and Ashley Lawrence had at the Olympics. That was a bit sloppy there by James, giving away. He's going to get away with that one as this will run through to Borjan. And another player you think might have a big role to play for Canada going forward, Jonathan Osorio, really growing into his role at Toronto FC. Of course, getting that MLS Cup pedigree as a championship winner. He was speaking this week about Canada's role in the United 2026 World Cup bid and just how special it would be to him to maybe one day play a World Cup match at BMO Field in Toronto. Of course, Edgar and his generation were part of that under-20 team that had that honor in 2007. It was a tough tournament for them, but when you look at the legacy of how many players from that group have gone on to play big roles for Canada, the list is long. Will Johnson, David Edgar, Simeon Jackson, Tosaint Ricketts, just to name a few. That was given away cross-field there by Canada. Here's Singh, the substitute. Left-footed swing into the area. Osorio has some time now to gather his thoughts. Sam Piet lays it across to Edgar. Tesho Akindele just getting set to come in. That's probably going to be a swap for Ricketts or for Liam Miller. So maybe just faded a bit in recent moments, Miller. Probably put everything into those first 65 minutes or so. He's been a threat all week in training. Real pleasure to watch Liam Miller. You can see he's got the pedigree to mix it with the best at a club like Liverpool. He spoke this week about coming up against the likes of Mohamed Salah in training and just being in awe. But he's showing here, certainly capable of mixing it with some of the best in Canada. And here is Miller. Can he cap off his performance with a special play here into the area? Wins a corner. Just got away from him inside the box there, Liam Miller. So it looks like it is going to be Tosaint Ricketts, the goal scorer, giving way. Taking his time to get to halfway here. Good day's work for Tosaint Ricketts. He found it tough in the first half, didn't see much of the ball, but when that chance did come to him, did his job, found the back of the net. Ricketts gives away to Tesho Akindele, back involved in the Canadian plans. Still playing in Dallas and MLS, Tesho. Here's Osorio. Osorio again with the throw in this time. Canada's big men just pedal their way backwards after that attempted corner. 70 minutes gone here at the Pinatar Arena. Canada 20 minutes away from a nice morale-boosting win. It's been a long time since their last fixture at senior level. That 1-0 loss to El Salvador in Houston, and with not many games on the horizon until September, really important for Canada to get a result here. They won't want to let this one slip late on. As it looks like Canada just preparing a few more sub cards on the bench there. Longtime program manager Morgan Corey just going through the paperwork. Laren does well to win that back, but it's given as a foul. Franz Schmidt, the New Zealand manager, is passing on some messages to Tom Doyle. Schmidt, much like John Herdman in his first game in charge here, spent a few years at FC Basel in Switzerland. He was recently an assistant with the Austrian team. Of course, Austria enjoying a relatively good spell at the moment. Akindele now. Here is Liam Miller. Miller into the area. He cuts it back. Still Miller. Oh, and he's unlucky there, Liam Miller. Beat the keeper, but it was cleared off the line, or at least from inside the area. Nico box all there. Oh. Apologies, Sam Brotherton. That would have been the icing on the cake for Miller after a great performance. Here he is again. Well, if you're watching this game and you didn't know Liam Miller before this game, I'm sure you do now. Canadian coaches have had their eye on him for quite some time. It was really just a question of when was right to bring him in at senior level. And you think after the performance today, almost certainly being involved in official action in the autumn. John Herdman just letting Kyle Aaron. Now he's only got a few minutes left on the pitch. Wants to see Kyle give everything in these final moments. Raheem Edwards just getting set to come in, so it might be a shift of either Akindele or potentially Miller up to that center forward position. New Zealand meanwhile coming forward. It's Rufert trying to force his way through. Piet brings it down. Here's Miller again, just going through the gears on that far side. That was a decent ball inside. He was kicked after the play. Referee was right there, but hasn't given it. Sam Piet, bit of a retaliation. You can see Piet's frustration. Herdman just asking Piet to calm down. And here is that change for Canada. It is Raheem Edwards coming in. Kyle Aaron coming out. Edwards, yet another man now at Montreal Impact. There's a handshake there between Kyle Aaron and John Herdman. throw in to New Zealand, I believe. Doyle just looking for an option. Time ticking away from New Zealand a bit. To be fair, they've made a lot of substitutions as well. Quite a young side out there for them right now. Edgar James just calmly heads that one back to Milan Borjan. That's Bevan, the number 17, appealing for a foul there. To be fair, it looked like David Edgar maybe did have his arms wrapped around him, but no foul given. There's Edgar again, Osorio, Piet. Piet has to do battle there with Bevan. Just played back a bit carelessly. Akindele just tried to let that one run, didn't quite work out. Osorio tries to win it back. Weatherspoon crashes in, and you can hear the Canadian bench just asking the boys to settle. Osorio's down there. Osorio just clutching his right-hand leg there. David Edgar exchanging words with Tim Payne. All smiles in the end. So it does look like Liam Miller has gone up to that center forward role, but maybe a bit of a change of shape overall. Canada may have gone 4-4-2 here. Bit of a dangerous header back inside the area. Edgar clears it away, appeals for a foul there, nothing given. Adekugbe puts his foot through that one. Here's Osorio in that slightly more forward position. And now we'll see how Liam Miller fares in this center forward role. He was certainly enjoying running into space as that winger out there. See how he fares with his back to goal. Here's Adekugbe. Again, Borjan just under a bit of pressure there from Bevan. Understandably, New Zealand hunting for the ball. Tesho Akindele comes away with it. He's in a bit of space here, Akindele. Miller just trying to get into the right areas. Canada a bit short on numbers, but they opt to work this one around. Here's Piet. Sporting that number 6 shirt, very much his own now since the departure of Julian de Guzman. And you wonder, with Atiba Hutchinson probably ticking down his career as well over the next couple of years, Piet might really be able to stake his claim as sole proprietor of that central defensive midfield role for Canada. Certainly just growing in confidence. Good ball there through to Akindele from Weatherspoon. Tesho Akindele's in. A cross goal, and it's just wide. Real chance there. It was Liam Miller bursting onto it. So close to a goal to cap off a fantastic debut. But it was David Weatherspoon's lovely ball through that set Akindele free inside the channel there. Here's another look at it. Akindele was a cross-come shot, and I think Miller did just get the faintest touch there. What a way to cap off his debut that would have been. Inches away. Here's Osorio. Sam Piet just burst through there to win that one back. He's gone down on the play, unfortunately. Here's Edwards looking to get around his man. Crosses it in. Akindele at the back stick. Flicks it towards goal, but easy enough to collect for Max Crocombe in the end. Piet's back on his feet, thankfully. Couple good chances there for Canada. Sam Piet has gone back down there. Sure, if you're a Montreal Impact fan watching this, you wouldn't be delighted at that sight. Michael Petrasso having gone off injured, no update on his status at this time. Sam Piet down as well. Piet, of course, spent a considerable amount of time down here in Spain playing club football in recent years.
We've got nothing left here. It goes 4-4-1. We've got nothing left on the bench.
Seems to be holding his left ankle, Sam Piet. You can see Milan Borjan and John Herdman just having a chat there. Borjan with the captain's armband. As Milan Borjan has just gotten the troops together for a bit of a huddle here. 10 minutes to go. Presumably passing on some messages from John Herdman. Big last 10 here for Canada. So important to see this one out with a clean sheet. Guarantee that victory. Back underway here. James looking to get around Bevan. Could have been a foul there, but nothing given. Good feet from Osorio. Chops his way around. Looks for Miller. It's going to be tough for 18-year-old Liam Miller up there. He's up against a real powerhouse in Michael Boxall. Here's Edwards. And Singh just nipping away at the heels of Raheem Edwards. David Edgar now in space. Canada just looking to probably keep the ball the final few moments here. 8 minutes plus stoppage time to play. Here's Sam Piet looking fresh back on his feet. Nice to see. Nice interchange there by Adekugbe and Edwards. Sam Piet dropping quite deep again to pick that one up. Weatherspoon. Canada just controlling the ball, happy to pass it across that back line. Bevan comes forward to look for it for New Zealand. Edgar's probably going to send this one long. He does. Looking for Miller. Done well there, Liam Miller. Just tried to nudge that towards Edwards. Here's Osorio on the second phase. Jonathan Osorio. Here's Bevan, but it's 1 against 3. David Edgar claws that back at the second or third attempt. Using some of that wily veteran presence. Says he feels good, David Edgar, just managing that knee as you do on return from a long injury, but certainly fit and fighting and far from done. Get the sense we've got a lot more football from David Edgar to look forward to. Can't quite get to that one though. It's a bit sloppy there from Canada. Weatherspoon just offering an apology to Edgar there. Decent position here for New Zealand. Weatherspoon doing battle. Godinho flies in. Franz Schmidt, the New Zealand gaffer, not very happy about that call. Just having a word with the fourth official. Borjan hooks that one towards Edwards, but sails just beyond him. Coming up in the last 5 minutes of the 90 here. Adekugbe comes away with it. Edgar, Adekugbe, Singh surging forward. You can see what Canada are trying to do here, just keep the ball across the back. It's just that delicate balancing act because when you're playing that much in your final third, it's always a bit deadly. Nearly given away there, but that's sent long in the end. There's a long ball out of the back for New Zealand. It's going to run clear to Borjan. He'll just stand over this one, Milan Borjan. Milan Borjan just made sure Bevan had to come all the way over to force him to pick that one up. Touch just gets away from Weatherspoon. Tesha nearly cuts that one out, but here's Doyle. Good feet from Doyle, cuts inside. You're just getting the sense that New Zealand may be sensing that urgency to get forward now. Brotherton, Piet just nudges it away, but nearly falls to Bevan. Edgar under some pressure there, plays it back to Borjan. Finds his way to Edwards in the end. Borjan. It's headed back by Doyle for New Zealand. That's Ingham who's struggling to get it clear. Here's Jonathan Osorio. Good opportunity here for Jonathan Osorio. Inside the area. Osorio! Just wide of that near post. That would have done it for Canada. It's a somewhat reminiscent position to when he scored against Jamaica in Toronto last year. Here's the replay. Just a yard or two wide of that right-hand post in the end. Here come New Zealand. Singh lays it back. It's played off to that far side. It was a good crossing position, but that ball just eluded everyone inside that 6-yard area. Goal kick to Canada. It was Andre de Jong just swinging that in for New Zealand.
Always full back low. Keep it tight. Full back low. Nothing else. Open fire. Up we go, guys. When you're ready.
Milan Borjan took his time getting that one back in play, and you can understand why. Inside the final 2 minutes here. Here's Doyle, some space to run into. Akindele has to get across, and he does. Weatherspoon closing that down. Edgar coming through the back a bit on Bevan, nothing given. Miller, Osorio. Still Osorio. He's going to carry it himself. Some pressure on Weatherspoon here. He coughs that one up. Sam Piet can't quite get to that one. Here's a chance to break for New Zealand. Tim Payne. Been an engine in midfield for New Zealand. Tim Payne. He's put in a shift. Miller wins that one back. Can't quite turn it. Runs towards goal. Into the final minute of the 90 now. Canada will be desperate to see this one out. It's floated deep into the area. A bit of a tough one for James to deal with. He heads it clear. Adekugbe will probably want to just get this one long. He turns back, actually. John Herdman just imploring his players to manage the game. Not long to go now. Here's Miller. Oh, he nearly flicked that round. Cleared away by Brotherton. Borjan sends that well clear. This could fall to Raheem Edwards here. He's chasing it down. He's going to get there. That's great work there by Raheem Edwards. Putting in the miles just to force that one out for a Canada throw. Gonna have 3 minutes of injury time here. 3 minutes for Canada to hold on to this victory. Currently possessing the ball in the New Zealand half. Edwards. Akindele tried to pull it back with his studs, but that was cut out. Sampiet burst through, looking to win that back. Still going Sampiet. He'll need to get back quickly though. It's gonna fall to Coutinho. Chooses to bring it down. Weatherspoon under some pressure here. Uses his body well to shield that one. Edgar not taking any chances, gets it well clear. It's gonna stay in play. That win just doing wonders for Canada there. It looked certain to be going out, but it came back off the edge of the line. John Herdman just saying, keep them in there. You can understand why. 2 minutes left of the promised 93. Coutinho just trying to keep it in that corner. It's going to fall to Bevan. James well forward. Sampiet just plays it back to Borjan. He'll surely just send this one back downfield. Actually plays it short to Piet. There's some pressure there, Sampiet, but he did well. It's going to be another throw to Canada. Just edging towards the win here. 75 seconds to play. Coutinho, Weatherspoon. This will have to go forward early, surely, from New Zealand. Crocombe. Andrew James just powers that one away. It's been solid back there, Mandrakar. Raheem Edwards wins that battle. Miller just gets away from him, and this might be the last chance at an attack for New Zealand. This is Singh coming forward. That's a foul. 30 seconds to play. Now or never for New Zealand. So they hoist it into the area. It should be Borjan's. It got beyond Borjan, but David Edgar, I think, just got it away, thankfully. And that's a foul on Osorio. Just a nervy moment there for Milan Borjan as that one hung up in the wind in the very dying stages here. All eyes on the referee now. And you'd imagine that as soon as Milan Borjan sends this one back into play, that should be it. Borjan taking his time. Sends it into that corner. And that is it. It's a win for John Herdman on his debut as head coach of our men's national team. Canada 1, New Zealand 0. It was Toe St. Ricketts, one of the veterans of the group, who did so well to bring that down, turn inside the area, and smash that into the roof of the net. That's the winning goal. You have to say, New Zealand had their chances early in the first half, hitting both the left and the right post. It could have been very different for them. It was an even game in truth, but Canada prevail. Canada 1, New Zealand 0. Your final score from the Pinatar Arena here in Spain, as Canada will head into the spring and summer on a positive note before they regroup in the autumn for the CONCACAF Nations League. Thanks very much for joining us here on CanadaSoccer.com. If you stick with us, we're going to try to get some post-match reaction right away from John Herdman and I assume Toe St. Ricketts as well. Thanks again.
2, 2. Ahí voy, 1, 1.
¿Se oye? ¿Es una prueba? ¿Se oye?
Big 1-0 win there for Canada. Just talk us through your goal.
I saw Dan had the space. He looked up and, I like to attack the channel, so I just, do what I do, and ball came over and just composed finish.
You were saying during the week you're hungry for some first-team football. Were you a bit rusty with some nerves, I guess, in your mind as you kind of burst through on goal there?
Yeah, I had a rough start to 2018 with my little health problem, but this is my first start of the year, so it's good. It's a big milestone for me for 2018, and even bigger for Canada starting the year.
You were saying during the week there was some real clarity coming out of the messages from John Herdman. What has he kind of tried to pass on to you guys this week?
Just an identity on the field. As you can see, you probably heard the most talking out of any side. Everyone knew everyone else's jobs. Everything was clear. Communication was great, and it showed in the way we played.
Nervy moments early on. Obviously, New Zealand hit the post twice. Were you a bit concerned after that first 10, 15 minutes?
No. Obviously, in any match, first 15 minutes are kind of hectic, and yeah, New Zealand had the best of that first 15 minutes. But, we regrouped and built from then.
You've shown you've got that scoring touch. You're headed back to Toronto now. What's next for you in the coming weeks and months?
Just getting sharper, working harder, just doing what I have to do to, keep fit for Canada and do what I can to help my club going forward in the season in the Champions League as well.
Congrats on the win, and thanks again.
Thank you.
Liam Miller, bit of a dream debut. You played so well down that side.
I'm ecstatic for my first game.
About this moment of first 90 minutes in Canada Red? Liverpool. Premier League 2 team. What comes next for you? audio with Liam Miller. We're going to switch audio cables. Liam, thanks so much. Congrats again.
Cámbialo, cámbialo. Decírselo a Luis por el intercom. No, cámbialo, cámbialo.
Pero tienes que... Luis, que lo cambies el teléfono, el cable. El cable único. El cable. Oye, de todas formas, que Luis, que le diga que en la primera entrevista se ha oído bien. Que ha salido. Es un 2.
1, 2, 3, 4. Microphone check 1, 2, 3, 4. Back from some audio problems here with John Herdman. John, congratulations. First game in charge and a first big win. How do you feel?
Yeah, it was. I'm just happy for the boys. They put in a great shift this week, and I think, you know, the first 12 minutes you could see we looked shaky, rusty. New Zealand really came out. So, but they weathered it. They showed that resilience, and then, you know, I think particularly second half they took control of the game. They could have scored a few goals there. I think this is just the start. You know, speaking to some of the lads coming off the pitch, they were really excited about some of the things that were happening out there. And there's a lot more to come. I think this is the great thing with this group. There's a lot more to come, and there's some players as well that, you know, weren't here. So, you know, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. It's a 1-0 win against New Zealand. New Zealand, we know, are a tough team. They're hard to beat. But, you know, pleased for Tosin getting his goal as well. He's worked bloody hard this week, and he's been great off the field for the team as well. So, you know, just proud of them, and I think it's a good foundation for us to build into some big matches coming in later in the year.
I think a lot of Canadian fans didn't know about Liam Miller before the game. They know about him now. A few words on that debut for him.
Well, I said to him, if you're good enough, you're old enough, and he's been lighting it up in training all week. You know, he's a shy kid. He's very young, but he's very fearless. I mean, he's very clear, I think, on what he wants to do in a game, and we spoke about how we get the best out of him and how we could move players around him, and I think we did today. He was a bit disappointed not to get a goal on his debut, but you know, when you look at the bright prospects of him, Alphonso Davies, I mean, it's just exciting what we've got coming through, and I'm sure we're going to unearth a couple more in the future.
New Zealand had their chances early on, certainly those two shots off the post in the first 15 minutes. You must have been a bit worried at that stage.
Yeah, we just looked rusty. It looked a typical rusty performance. The wind was blowing through, and you could see that we just didn't adjust. We didn't adjust to the wind or their pressure. But I'd expect that, you know, first 15 minutes I said to them, look, you'll feel your way into the game. They can't keep the same pressure and momentum going, which you've seen them in previous matches. They set about teams first 15 minutes, but then it dies off. And I said, when our moment comes, we'll take our rhythm and we'll set our structures. And I think the players did. So I just thought it showed that little bit of resilience. I got a bit of luck, and you know, I think I'll be unlucky in the future as well. So I'll take it.
Next action looks like CONCACAF Nations League beginning in September. What happens for you now personally between now and those meaningful games in the autumn?
Well, I think it's starting the real work in terms of looking at the structure, strategizing with Mauro Biello at the U23 Excel levels, you know, looking at some of the restructures at U20 levels as well, U17s, and going towards, you know, how we set our system up and making people clear and part of it within our game. I think that's a huge step that we have to take. We have to articulate a very clear Excel vision and then get people to buy in. And I think, you know, there've probably been some doubters over the last couple of months, and you know, the players, I think, are bought in, and I think it's time, Canada. You know, it's time for us to just step forward and, you know, get behind this and connect our country on a system, and that's certainly what I'm going to try and do.
viendo ahí. Los tiene él. Gracias.
Cuidado, no habléis, no habléis arriba que se cuela todo. Tenemos el ambiente de cámaras. Como está en cámara lenta.
Vale. Estamos fuera, sí, estamos fuera.